So I have some things to say about Mom. So I just had a conversation with my mother that I thought I had recorded, but of course it didn't get recorded. In the beginning of the conversation, I told her how I was feeling a little bit better because I'm on 1 milligram of Klonopin right now, which makes all one's problems seem to go away, even though you still feel them. I then pointed out the possibility of publishing my book to the world because I talked to a literary agent, or more precisely a professor of journalism at Columbia, who has many contacts. And she thinks that I should first publish in the aging section of the New York Times, a 1,000-word intro, for example. I then said to my mom that I feel that this can help a lot of people. This can give a lot of people a lot of hope for Dad over here. But there are a couple of issues. One is that it exposes my personal relationship with my mother, which in the book is a very difficult relationship, and in many instances makes my mother out to be quite inexcusable, for lack of a better word, inappropriate in the manner of how she has treated Dad. What I failed to point out, because much of the book is written on the spur of the moment, day to day, there's no retrospect. It's all written as the emotions flood through me on a day-to-day basis. Mostly in the beginning in an attempt to get my mom to see what she was unable to see because of all the stress. What I failed to point out is that my mother has done some very commendable things. My mom, under a lot of stress, simply put herself into a self-preservation mode, because taking care of him the way I would have wanted would have killed her without my help, or somebody like me. So she needed to do what she had to do to survive. That included putting Dad in the living room. It included many, many things. Not having the ability to be flexible to cater to Dad's every need just to keep the man alive. A man who said he was willing to die on many occasions, that he was ready for it, that he didn't want stem cell treatment, right? Mom did all these things for me. She put the money up for the stem cell treatment. She's paying for food, high-tech drugs that I've researched, that I believe are helping to produce the miracles we see every day in this book. Mom gave Dad to me because I wanted it. And probably for no other reason. Whether she realizes that it's a much better environment for him is not the point of what I'm trying to say here. The point is simply that I recognized an environment that was not conducive to his well-being. That environment happened to have been at my mom's place in Florida, at their place. And so I brought him here, and the saga continues. But I want the world to know that my mother is a good person, a very good person. And that we all go through crises, and act not at our best at all times. And stress, very debilitating stress, can cause us to do things that we wouldn't ordinarily do if we weren't pressed to be in a survival mode. So, when my mom said she wasn't happy that our personal life would be exposed, I said that I felt it was best to do so. Because to compromise the book, to compromise the reality of a situation by sugarcoating it or showing only the angelic side would not be true to form, would not be true to life. It would be very hard for people to relate to something that doesn't show the same struggles that they probably go through themselves. So, here we are, prefacing this book with to take everything with a grain of salt and understand that everything was written in the moment. Now there's two other issues to discuss here. One is it exposes Dad. Now, should Dad get well, he might look back on it and say, I can't believe all of my personal life here is exposed. But then again, if 50 million people are looking at this and it's a groundbreaking piece of literature that helps a majority of people in the world have hope for people with Alzheimer's, then perhaps Dad will think differently. And I believe people will relate to Dad as a wonderful person struggling with strength to overcome this disease. So that said, the only other issue is a small fight that I had with my sister that is just par for the course for this book. I think without the difficult family dynamics being portrayed, an important piece of the book would be missing. I guess that's it for now. Right, Dad? What do you think? Did I leave anything out? What did I leave out?
You'll
Yeah.
to this.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's see if we can get you in here. Yeah.
If the whatever the drummer is,
Yeah.
that you're gonna have to go for. Right? The original field.
I have to say that my mom paying for the stem cells was contrary to what my dad would have wanted when he was cognizant enough to make that decision. He said to himself, and here's a genius, a man of genius level IQ saying, if the doctor doesn't recommend it, I'm not going to do it. It didn't matter that it was at the forefront of technology and that my research indicated that the chances were highly likely that there would be some cognitive improvement with the stem cells. Didn't matter for years.
Yeah.
Finally, Dad had a car accident, and here he is, which made me in a position more able to get Dad to do this treatment, because it then became Mom's decision. And she went for it, and she took a risk by doing that, albeit I don't feel a major financial one, a risk nonetheless, because it was contrary to Dad's thinking. But I wanted him to be alive so much, and she saw that, and she went for it. The result was even more miracles, and even more increased appetite for a man who was dying of malnutrition and being grossly underweight. who now eats twice as much as I do. It helped his energy, his endurance. As you will see later on in the book, he can now run. He wasn't even able to get out of bed. He didn't even have the energy to get to the toilet. We had a commode 3 feet from his bed, which was in the living room after the hospital. Many things can account for his progress. Many of yours might think that just looking at him now that there's no progress. But if you can see where he was, and you can see where he is from the hundreds of hours of video, you'll be able to relate to some of the miracles here.
We shall see.
We shall see, says Dad. It's been difficult, but I feel it's been none other than an instinctual obligation to do this. Sorry to say, Dad, it's not out of love, although I feel I do love you very much. It's out of instinct because I'm your son.
There isn't a there us. Just put look for twins like this, and then look down, and it should be sitting the top of your cup of your.
Okay.
And then the cup of the they'll fill. You'll say they'll say hey and give it the and the other people will say
Yep.
and the other people will say some nothing.
Perhaps Dad's talking about how different people will react to what they see, right? Dad understands everything, but because he also has aphasia, one has to interpret what he says. The fact that he understands so much now, and makes it clear that he does, even through his own Cal speak, his own language, is extraordinary in and of itself.
Well, listen to the Stibber and everything. Trying to go to and here. Hey, I'll face it. You see, what? Where are you gonna put this?
This is going to be a book about our lives, Dad, over the last 4 months.
Not as it's done.
It's going to show hope
Yeah, I know.
and progress and your incredible strength in making the progress.
I saw one today, didn't I?
There is one other issue that I don't want to forget about, which is that of race. Maybe I'll never get to be on Oprah because she'll feel that it's racist that I wanted to have
Yeah, well, you'll be all of us.
a woman caring for Dad with us that was of his race, or Latina, or Filipino,
Go again. Can't even say that. Just,
but not black.
this one you will really killed because it's very big.
Probably, it's a big issue.
You've seen it and everything.
And I've chosen this because this is not a profession of being an accountant. This is a profession of high intimacy.
Yeah, okay.
Where the people who shower him, who get into the shower and wash him, is about as an intimate experience as you would have with your own wife. And if you feel that all else being equal, you want to marry a white person, then I feel that you should have the ability to have that same intimate experience with a white person as well.
Why they shouldn't?
And if somebody interprets that as racist, then I'm sorry. On a personal level, I nearly married a Guyanese girl who looks black, although she's not. Her blood is Indian and English combined. She's from Guyana. And that might just shed some light on who I am, but it doesn't change the fact that people have preferences based on physical appearance. And if my dad has a preference for somebody to be physically fit, physically attractive, and somebody that's going to be so close to him, there's nothing racist about that at all. And if that can't be understood in this book, and I lose the ability to publish this book to help millions of people, to give millions of people hope, then it's truly a sad thing. But it's expressed because when we call the agencies and all they could send us is black people, it makes me sad. There was another issue there in that we found that Latinas have a greater rapport with family and therefore treat people with more love than would a person who was raised on Long Island, for example, where it's not customary to have such a strong family network. It's more customary to put your old man in a home, especially for the Long Island Jewish population, of which I am more part of. So this is very different for our culture as well, but it's my instinct. Not my Jewish instinct, just my instinct as a human being. I found the Filipinos have it too, and the Jamaicans have it. But again, my preference was based on what I feel his preference would be.
What?
And mine as well,
Why?
because they have to live with me as well if they're staying in the house with me. Now thank God for my wife Shirley, who is Latina, because with her here, we don't really need any aids. But unfortunately, she's not here very often. And even with her here, we'd like a few hours a day of our own time.
No, she's good. She's good.
Yeah, Shirley's good, and you love her.
She was an excellent.
Dad's saying the same thing. Let me make sure I'm not wasting time here, Dad, and that we're actually recording, because this seems to happen a lot when I record. We lose the ability. Something goes wrong when we're saying important things. But anyway, I'd like this to be a preface to my journal, which I hope will rock the world of caregiving. And
It's very well told.
and from here we'll proceed. My father has had Alzheimer's for 5 to 6 years, maybe 7. His brain was shown to be so black on an MRI that nobody could believe he was driving. As much as he couldn't even express himself very well, he was driving. He knew where to go. He would go to Home Depot. He would go get pizza. And then came the accident where his car rolled over. And before I know it, I get a call from my mom 2 days after the accident, of course. And so begins the controversy with my mother that Dad's in the hospital. He'll probably be fine, but just in case he doesn't make it, you might want to come down. Now at that time, he responded to me through a FaceTime chat. I said, I'm coming down, I'm going to drive down. And he said, well, just check with your mother. He was actually more cognizant before that operation. So I don't think it's so much the car accident as the operation which really caused him to regress. Had I been down there at the time, I might have chosen that he not have the operation and he have the halo instead. But my sister did some research and they chose the operation based on the statistics of longevity after that operation versus not having it. And I think that was an intelligent way to proceed. I might have done the same thing. I'm not sure if it was my decision. They say hindsight's 20/20, so it wouldn't speak very highly of me to say what I would do now. Anyway, there are many, 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 many miracles in this journal, in this book, in this diary, whatever you want to call it. And every day there's another one. We brought this man, Cal Silverman, from not being able to even eat by